Okay, listen. Asiago, Cortez, no. Stop playing video games. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of crap to do at the House of Representatives. You are a representative, right, of the House, right? Okay? I don't know how you got there, but you know, the Democrats are kind of like scraping the bottom of the barrel. And, yeah, honey, you are it. You are it. Okay? You need to sit your butt down on your desk and figure something out. I mean, I'd rather you work on something stupid than actually play video games with the potential voters in the younger generation. You have no business doing that. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about anything, or you have anything to add, or if you want to correct me on anything that I talk about on my podcast, you can freely do it on my Instagram at Rogue Radio 4 or Rogue Radio 4 on Twitter. See you there. I'd love to talk to you. Good morning, my renegades. Welcome back to Rogue Radio. My name is Sarah Jane, and today we're having a Rogue News segment. I've been writing like a crazy person ever since last night, so let's just dive in, right? I don't have a tagline like Philip DeFranco. I'm kind of jealous. But anyway, Cortez has been asking people on Twitter to play Among Us on Twitch with other people, potential voters in the younger generation. So I have a bone to pick with her with that. Not just that, but just how she is. I never really liked Cortez. Listen, you can call me whatever you want. Biased, Republican, fascist. Somebody actually on YouTube told me that. But you know what? I don't care. Listen. She is a representative in the House. Okay? I don't feel like she has any business becoming familiar with the people who are voting for Biden or Trump, okay? Right now is called, what is it called? It's, I forget what it's called, but around October, I call it the October crazies, where there's a whole bunch of crap going on because Election Day is coming up, and there's a lot of things that the media is doing, that the House is doing, that the presidents are doing, that the president candidates are trying to do in order to sway your vote. It happens every year. And it is not surprising when I see Alexandria Asiago Cortez, okay? I probably mispronounced your name. I don't care, okay? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that she decided to do this. But I feel like she doesn't have any business being on YouTube. Listen, I know you want to try to relate to the younger generation. I know you think that you're trying, but you still look like a crazy person, okay? Listen, I don't think that she's doing this just to have fun. I don't care if she has downtime. If she has downtime to do whatever she wants, go ahead and do it. But you're a representative of the House. Isn't there a certain reputation that you have to uphold for that? Anyway, she tweeted, "Anyone want to play Among Us with me on Twitch to get out the vote? Never played, and it looks like a lot of fun." I guess Pokimane, I guess she's a really big gamer, I don't know who she is, accepted the invite, and Cortez writing back saying that she will get streaming equipment as soon as she can so she can play. I feel like since it is October, there's a lot of people on the right and far left that have certain angles in order to get your vote. If a representative of the House is playing Twitch with people, okay, she's more inclined to have that vote because she's relating to people. You don't see Trump doing that because, of course, he's the president. He has a reputation to uphold. I don't think he has any time to do that. I feel like any representative of the House or anybody who is in that White House that is helping it operate has any business or any reason to have any sort of downtime to do this. I just don't know. I don't like Asiago Cortez, like I said, for many reasons, and one main reason is this, okay? This woman shut down an Amazon shipping warehouse, okay? There was a deal, she decided to shut it down, and she put thousands of people out of work, okay? And then had the gall to brag about it, right, on the news, saying how incredible it was. I think it's incredible. People want to play a video game with the House rep who was responsible for thousands of people losing their jobs. Have fun, idiots! She claims that the jobs that these people who had these jobs were subsidized, meaning that the city was getting money from it too. Why would you unemploy thousands of workers in NYC, your home state, mind you, okay? And then say on a late show that people shouldn't be too poor to live. Idiot! You just put thousands of people in poverty. You are such a hypocrite. And people are playing with her on Twitch like it's okay. Oh, she's a great person. She's so relatable. But she's also put thousands of people in poverty. Good job, guys. Good job. But aside from that, there's a lot of hype for this game called Among Us on Twitch. I'm not a Twitch streamer. I'm not a Discord streamer. I'm not even a gamer. I do play video games sometimes, but it's usually on my PS3. Call me nostalgic, okay? Call me nostalgic. Jeffree Star is in the news. Not a surprise, right? Of course not. There have been a few friends that have come forth, plus screenshots of conversations about Star's behavior over the years. If you like Jeffree Star, then go ahead and be his little minion. Even he had me fooled at one time. There's been several accounts of Jeffree and video proof of him groping men who do not give him permission to do so, as well as testimonies of people saying that he's demanded sex from people, threatening them with a mini butcher knife, okay? Also paying off victims he's tortured over the years so they keep silent, so he can keep his image. I don't know what kind of image, but I feel like it has been flaking. His image has been flaking, alright? Faster than his makeup on his face, okay? I can't deal with this dude anymore. I thought that he was a very classy guy. I thought he changed. That's why back in the day I did make podcasts and news segments of him, kind of praising him and encouraging him and how proud I was of him and how he changed and everything. But he has definitely not changed. You just see a different angle of him. Just like there's many angles to a painting that somebody can look at. There's many angles, there's many perspectives of Jeffree Star, and I think he likes it that way. He has a history of sexual assault and possibly the most problematic YouTuber out there. Stun guns to intimidate people around him, which I have read a screenshot saying that I guess one of his lawyers gave him a stun gun, saying if anyone tries to beat you up, just use a stun gun. Then everybody that was working for Jeffree Star got called into a conference room, and he was basically just stunning people back and forth, like everywhere. I mean, I'm sorry. Why? What gives you the authority to do that? Apparently there has been an account of Jeffree Star tasering a homeless teen in a movie theater because he rejected Jeffree Star's affection. I guess later on he was given Ambien and forced to have oral sex. this person, who I know the name of, I just don't want to kind of divulge his identity. I don't want to, like, expose his identity. Every victim has the right to their privacy. Apparently, this person has recanted, saying, I misinterpreted things, I remember things wrong, I got paid off, you know. Anyway, I guess this teen's roommate also suffered some sexual assault, even though he was straight. Sounds like something that Jeffree Star was accusing James Charles about. I want to say earlier this year or late of 2019. Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson both ganged up on James Charles. Also, Tati, I want to say, did this as well. Ganged up on James Charles, saying that he did the same thing, trying to advance on straight or bi-curious men. But it looks like Jeffree Star has been doing the same thing. Interesting. Groping without consent apparently was common. As a singer, when he was a singer, he would just, I guess, basically think that every penis is his and decides to grab it. Well, sir, that is called sexual assault. I did one time watch a video of a fan that allegedly groped Jeffree Star while he was singing, and she was, like, up by the stage, and she groped him. I don't remember seeing her groping him, but he literally dragged her by the hair up on stage and threw her to his bodyguards and said, you know, some crazy stuff like, don't ever touch me again, I'll kill you, or something like that. We all know that Jeffree Star at one time was in for the shock factor, just like Shane Dawson was. I'm not saying that that is right, of course not, but I am saying that this is who he was. But the thing is that maybe Jeffree, she was copying you. Maybe she saw what you were doing and decided to do it too, because, hey, every penis is free range for you. I'm not saying it's right, but you had a fan base. You still have a young fan base, okay? But when you were a singer, it was worse, okay? Your fans see everything you do and try to copy you. They loved you that much. And you get angry at some girl that has probably did see you do something like that and decided to do it. Like I said, not saying it's right, but guess what? You are not innocent either. Anyway, personally, in my opinion, I feel like all his apologies are fake. He's fake. All his excuses were fake. I feel like he thinks he can do what he wants because of his fame. His song does say he can get away with murder, so I won't be surprised if he got caught doing that and tried to appease his audience of his innocence. If all of this is true, which I will say all of this stuff I got from the internet, okay? All of this could be allegedly true or allegedly false. Like I said, I do my best to put this disclaimer. Everything I do, everything I find is on the internet, which means it could be a lie and it could be real, okay? I want my followers and my listeners to go out and do their own research and make up their own mind about the things and the people that I talk about. I am not somebody that will say that this is true and you need to believe me and all of that. This is me expressing my own opinion and my own view of things. And if you listen and you agree, that's great. If you don't, that's incredible too, okay? I want you to have your own mind and think for yourself. This is the reason why I do Rogue News. This is the reason why I say that this is real news. This is something that you wouldn't see on the, television and stuff, because it's something that I want to talk about. It's something that I need to talk about. It's something that I need to express myself with. And if you agree, that's amazing. If you don't, that's fine. Okay? But, listen. The guy performed with Davi Vanity. Okay? If all of this is true, then I can see why him and Davi Vanity got along. Okay, next in the news is Eugenia Cooney. I will not be talking about her weight. I will not be talking about her ED. I will not be talking about her family dynamic. I will not be talking about the things that she's been struggling with emotionally and physically, because if by somehow she ends up listening to this, I really don't want to be the person that triggers her. I know that I'm not that famous. I am just saying, for safety's sake, for her safety, I will not be talking about her weight and her ED. But Eugenia Cooney is in the news and in hot water because of the moderators she's picked for her Discord and Twitch have been harassing her fans and are allegedly convicted pedophiles and sex offenders. Mods have been inappropriate to her fans, and she has been notified of it multiple times. There are no age restrictions on her Discord and Twitch. And she doesn't even try to protect her fans on her site. So the next few texts that I will be reading is from somebody that either contacted somebody about this, one of the moderators, or Eugenia. So I will be reading that right now. So, I reported my fears to EC, which is Eugenia Cooney. I got, he's nice, and that he's sweet. And then I got banned, which is probably from her Discord or Twitch, for caring about safety, and I just have this sick feeling there's more. The guys on her Discord sometimes act vile. I mean, sexual convos are completely normal in there for a place that's 18 plus. But the thing is that Eugenia's age restriction, she doesn't have one. She doesn't have one. Here's another report from another fan that has reached out to a moderator that she thought that she could trust, and I'm going to read that as well. Can you help me to get a message to Eugenia? The moderator says, only thing I can do is DM her and on Twitter just like you. The victim says, true, I'm basically being stalked by a pedophile and I have to disappear for a bit. It is what I wanted to tell her. Moderator says, I'm sure she will understand. The same fan reaches out to Eugenia and she responds. So, hi Eugenia. I'm being stalked by a pedophile blackmailer and I have to ditch my old accounts. But I don't know what to do about my subscription and it's gonna upset me that you're going to forget me and forget who I was. I'm being stalked, Eugenia, and I don't know what to do if I can watch you under my username. I'm not going to put her username, but anymore. Please don't forget me. I don't know what to do. It hurts so much. I love you. I got to go into hiding. Eugenia responds saying, aw, don't worry. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I really hope things get better. Don't be afraid to report it to authorities if things get too serious. You're always so sweet, and I wouldn't ever forget you. Love you, and hang in there. Now, like I said, I don't want to say anything that would hurt Eugenia Cooney, because I know she's going through a lot right now, whether she believes it or not, whether she realizes it or not. But I will have to say, when you are responsible for about 1 million, more than 1 million followers on your YouTube and possibly Twitch. I know she's deleted either her Twitch or her Discord because of these allegations. but she is responsible for a lot of fans, a massive amount of fans who love her and support her and encourage her. But she is not taking responsibility for giving a seat to these moderators who are convicted sex offenders and pedophiles. We all know what went down just towards the end of 2019. I want to say maybe even 2018. I'm really bad with years and timestamps upon things, okay? I feel like 2019 just happened yesterday. I'm getting that old. But we all know what happened between Jaclyn Glenn and her two friends and Eugenia Cooney being put into a facility, okay? Like I said, I'm doing my best not to tread on that water just because I don't want to talk about that. But Jaclyn Glenn does respond to her fans on Twitter that have said, you know, she needs help with this and all of this stuff. And I like the tact that Jaclyn Glenn has when she replies and responds in her YouTube video. And she has kind of talked to us about the way Eugenia is. She didn't have anything negative to say. If she did have anything to say, it was because she has concern for her. I feel like Jaclyn Glenn has a lot of heart. She has a big heart with Eugenia, and the thing is that I feel like, according to her, Eugenia does take things the wrong way. If she does receive any constructive criticism or any complaints from anybody, she believes that she's being bullied. Eugenia thinks that she's being bullied because she got sent somewhere by Jaclyn Glenn. That's why they're not friends anymore. Someone also harassed, one fan actually made a fake Jaclyn Glenn Twitch profile, and even Jaclyn Glenn said, like, don't do that, that's not okay. You know, she even felt like the discomfort watching Eugenia respond to this person saying, oh, I'm really sorry, I just wish we could be friends and stuff. I don't know. But bottom line is that Eugenia is an incredibly nice person. I believe it too. I believe that she gives people the benefit of the doubt when they don't deserve it. I believe that there is a reason why she is the way she is. Like, I used to be a super nice person back in the day. I am still sometimes. It's just I'm not as nice as I was for certain reasons. There's a possibility, okay, for everyone, okay? It is possible to be way too nice to people, because then people take advantage of you. And I feel like Eugenia is the definition of that. I know she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I know she's the type of person that wants to spread positivity as much as she can, whenever she can. And I love that about her. I'm not saying that she's a bad person. I am saying that when you're too nice, you end up being a little bit naive to things. And even Jaclyn Glenn recognizes this. So when there's sex offenders and pedophiles that are actually talking to her and is very nice to her, she actually takes that and actually makes that decision like, well, he's nice, he's sweet. So when it comes to her fans complaining about this, it's difficult for her to realize that she's been taken advantage of. And I think that could, be from a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into that right now. It is a very touchy subject, so I'm sorry if I'm tiptoeing around this. I am just saying that I feel like Eugenia Cooney has been taken advantage of by some very sick people who have been harassing her fans. And I don't think, okay, that she's ignoring it. I honestly feel like she thinks that she's being bullied for making a wrong decision. Everybody makes mistakes. You know, I'm doing my best to be kind to her. I don't even have to try to be kind to her, because I know that she is genuinely nice and genuinely positive as much as she can be. So I do feel like she is a bit naive, but she does need to take responsibility. That is something that she has to learn and that she has to understand, is that she has a responsibility to protect her fans, and she has the responsibility to fact check the backgrounds of her moderators and make sure that everybody is safe on her Discord and on her Twitch and any other streaming service that she's on. Because this is endangerment. This could be child endangerment as well, because of course she has no age restriction on her platforms, which means that there are pedophiles out there preying on the fans that are underage, which is child endangerment. She can be arrested for that. And I don't want anything bad to happen to Eugenia. I feel like she's a very genuine, very nice person. Like I said, she is in a very terrible place right now, but she just needs to understand that constructive criticism, for one, is okay. It may make you feel something. Maybe you'll feel negative about it, but it doesn't mean that people are bullying you. When someone complains to you about something, they're not bullying you, Eugenia. They're letting you know their own concerns. That's all. And like I said, she needs to take responsibility for herself. She needs to take responsibility for her fans and do her best to protect her fans. I know at some point she did make a video, I don't know if it was an apology video, about this whole thing. But Eugenia, girl, I have hope for you. You are like probably the purest person, YouTuber, that is famous, that I actually like watching, that I actually love to see, because you're so genuine. But you are an adult, and I want to see you have that backbone, girl. I know you have it. Apparently, in some of the Discord videos and things that she has said, she does shift blame. She doesn't, she tries her best not to have any blame on her, and I think that's just because you have to understand that Eugenia, I'm not defending her in any way, but I will say that she is a victim of something. She is a victim. We all have to realize that Eugenia Cooney is a victim in certain ways. And she is under not an influence. I don't want to say that she's like on drugs, absolutely not. When I say that, she's under a certain influence where she lives. Okay? And the reason why I feel like she does that is because she does not like controversy. She does not want to talk about it. I feel like just by watching some of the videos that I see on YouTube right now about this, I feel like she does that because she hates controversy. I feel like she can't stand when people don't like her or say mean things to her. I feel like she cares too much about what other people think of her. Anyway, there has been some screenshots of her moderators saying, oh, I never banned this person, when they were talking about his penis to all of these underage fans and all of this stuff. And Eugenia has seen it. Eugenia has seen it. There is no excuse for that. like I said, she has a responsibility as a creator to protect her fans by any means necessary. That means quickly and swiftly making sure that these things that her fans are saying are correct. Also, trying to make sure that she gets at least something from the moderators that confirms the fans' fears, and also banning them as well. Okay? She needs to protect the kids on her Discord and Twitch. Like, I know she don't have a Discord anymore, but listen. Regardless of whatever platform that she is on, that she creates on or does anything, there's kids that are going to watch her. There's people that look at her as a role model. If you, Eugenia, if you didn't want to be looked at as a role model, then YouTube is not for you. But you are a very big role model. And all of the times that you have gone live and all of the things that you have said and done are absorbed by the young people, the young fans that you have. So when they come to you and trust you with certain things, like saying, hey, I'm being harassed by this pedophile, I'm being blackmailed, will you please help me? And the only thing that you can say is contact the right authorities and that I'll never forget you. Listen, you have power to ban somebody. You have the power to create a safe atmosphere for your fans, especially when you go live. I don't understand why you didn't do that. Next up is national news, and I will be talking about the presidential debate that happened before Trump got COVID. I don't know if he actually got COVID. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the news is saying. Anyway, I hope you get well, Mr. President, because I want 4 more years of you, bro. You're doing really good. Trump 2020. Okay, now that I've got my bias out of the way. The presidential debate, the very first one, I feel like there was a lot of people that said it was an embarrassing debate, that it was very uncivilized, that it was very argumentative and very just not good. And you have to understand that, of course, presidential candidates and anybody in the House, anybody in the White House, anybody who is in any type of authority in the White House, they are human first. They will do some stupid things. They will say some stupid things. Okay? So when it comes to Trump interrupting Biden in his 2 minutes, and then there's Biden, of course, interrupting him. They did equally kind of interrupt each other, and I feel like the reason is because according to like body language and speech patterns and stuff like that, I only know a little bit of that. They both were fighting for dominance and the upper hand when it came to, talking about the issues that the moderator was giving them and stuff, so that they could be able to get ahead of their opponent. You got to understand that this is an electoral race. They are racing for elections. They are racing for votes. This month is probably the most important month to both of the candidates this year. This happens every year. It's called the October Crazies. I'm pretty sure there's another word for it, but it's all about pushing votes. It's all about getting people to get out and vote. And the reason why they are doing these presidential debates is because they want to be able to sway your vote. Okay? I would talk about the media and the manipulation upon people, but I'm not going to talk about that today. All of this and the way that they were talking was because, for one, it is the first presidential debate, and yes, there are some very high tensions. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of anger between the two. You know, Joe Biden does not like Trump. Trump don't like Joe Biden, okay? And they work together in the White House, okay? It's like having two coworkers that don't like each other in the same workplace. That's exactly how it is there. And we all have to understand that, yes, gaining the upper hand in the debate is probably the most important thing that any presidential candidate can do, okay? I'm not gonna re-record this. I'm done. Anyway, the second presidential debate was, I feel, it wasn't at all different from the first presidential debate. I know that was between Pence and Harris. I did watch that. I found it kind of funny that even the newscaster, before they went on, she said, Harris does not check her facts. Well, Harris, if you don't check your freaking facts, why are you even debating? Why are you even talking? Why are you even around? Okay? How did she even become the acting vice president to the presidential candidate? Okay, I don't understand that. I don't know where the far left, excuse me, get their candidates or get their representatives of the House. I don't know where you get them. It's like pulling stuff out of your butthole. Listen, I find Harris the type of woman who is that one very mean feminist who just hates men, who just hates the fact that she's going up against a man, because there have been so many times. Pence, I'm talking. Listen, I understand that you were a prosecutor, but this is how presidential debates go, whether or not they abide the rules or not. This happens naturally. They interrupt each other because this is a debate. Okay? Have you ever actually seen a debate, especially a presidential debate, actually go accordingly to the rules? No. Absolutely not. So she has to expect that Pence will interrupt her. She has interrupted Pence a few times as well. So, girl, you ain't innocent. You're not innocent in this, okay? She has also accused Trump of breaking the alliance with China and having that financial backing in China. The only reason why I want to talk about this is because of one thing, okay? When there are people in life that are famous, that actually do things by themselves without any financial help, without any reason to go to anybody for any sponsors or anything, the government gets scared. Obama had that alliance, okay, with China. We had Obamacare, okay? We had Obamacare. And there were plenty of people that did not deserve Social Security and food stamps who were perfectly able to work. Okay? The reason why we had Obamacare is because he had the financial backing of China. He was borrowing money from China and the national debt plummeted. It rose. It skyrocketed. Okay? The national debt is incredibly terrible right now. I don't know how much it is now. I think it just keeps on going. And the reason why Trump does not like the fact that China has been giving America money is because we would be indebted to China. We would owe China a lot of money. We owe China a lot of money that Obama has borrowed in order for people, like I said, who are undeserving of Social Security and food stamps. The only reason why you lost your food stamps is because Trump actually believes that you can get a freaking job. Okay? You lost your Social Security because you are able to work. Okay? I love the fact, I will tell you right now, okay, I had some sort of assistance from the government, okay? I'm not going to tell you what it was just because I have that right to privacy. And guess what? I did. I lost it. But I'm also a better person from it. I make my own money on my podcast and as a recovery coach. I pay with my own money for the things that I need. And that is probably the most fulfilling thing I have ever experienced. Thank you, Trump. Seriously, thank you. Obamacare was an excuse for the American people to be lazy and get free food and get free security checks. Okay? I get it. If you have a disability, that's fine. You have your Social Security. You have your food stamps to help you. But there are people who are on that, any type of, on that assistance from the government that don't need it. Which means they are stealing from people who actually deserve it. Does that sound right to you? Does Obamacare sound right to you now? The fact that he has been borrowing money from China in order for you to be lazy. Wow. On the other hand, Trump Jesus, Trump has actually worked for everything that he got. He owns multiple buildings in New York. He's had his own show. He's made everything from the ground up. He's made everything. Yes, he's inherited some of that from his father after he died. But guess what? He kept on adding to his empire. That's how all of us should be thinking. That's the mentality that all of us as an American people, okay? As American people, we should have that same mentality. Gaining momentum to do things for yourself and other people who can benefit for it. Okay? Don't get mad when Trump is trying to make the United States an independent country again, where we don't need any handouts from China or any other country. Don't get mad at Trump because of what he's doing. He's actually doing something for the good of people. And yes, when it comes to a process, when it comes to things that are changing, change hurts. And he actually knows that. He knows that there's a lot of people angry with him. There's a lot of people that hate him. And he knows that. But guess what? He don't care. Because he knows that he can actually make America great again. Okay? Yes, you can say a lot of things about his past, but doesn't everybody have a past that they're ashamed of? How is Trump any different? How is Trump any different? Okay. I could say, how is Biden any different? But this man has been seen molesting children and making them very uncomfortable when their kids of the people that had been sworn in the House of Representatives got their kids near him, all right? He was touching them inappropriately. He was sniffing their hair. He was holding them, being very handsy. okay? I don't like Biden. There's a lot of things that he said that I don't like. There's a lot of things that he's done. There's a lot of things that he's done and said that actually have angered me and that have definitely confused me. I don't understand why Joe Biden is a presidential candidate. Trump has been accused of being racist. Well, what about Joe Biden? I can't go to a 7-Eleven without a slight Indian accent. Poor kids are just as bright as talented white kids. Unlike the Latino American community, the African American community is not diverse. And here's a real doozy. I love it when kids jump on my lap. These are actual quotes, folks. And you would rather have a pedophile in office than somebody who actually gives you enough tough love to kick your ass into gear and get yourself a damn job and stop relying on the government's assistance. The only reason why he doesn't want you to have government assistance is because he never had it. He wants you to be just as great as him. Why is that such a crime? You want to know how I make some really awesome podcasts? It's called Anchor. For one, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for free so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcasts with no minimum listenership. It is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And download your free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Who's going to join me? Come on, let's have some fun. So next is Trump's appeal to women ahead of his election. That's pretty cool. You don't hear about that now, do you? Because CNN and Fox are all biased. You know that, right? Anyway, this comes from the OAN network, One American News Network. And let's see what it says. I'm going to read the article a little bit. President Trump is making an effort to continue appealing to suburban women through his campaign rallies. One America's Stephanie Myers spoke with the communications director at Winning for Women, Olivia Perez Cubas, about his tactics. Well, apparently I mispronounced her name. It's Olivia Perez Cubas. And she is the founder of Winning for Women. And this organization is about empowering women when they are in a conservative viewpoint. So more likely than not, when it comes to conservative women, they are ignored and they are kind of pushed aside by the left. They're not at all appealed to by the left. So what Trump is doing is he's doing his best to appeal to that demographic of women who are conservative and have conservative views. And I find that very awesome about him. If his past is actually true, he's actually really making a very good improvement about, his actions in the past. We all know that he was probably, he has some mistakes in his past, saying grab him by the pussy and all that kind of stuff. But you have to look to his present and see what he can do for the future, because looking at the past is only going to stir up anger. Like I said, past is full of mistakes and things that we wished we shouldn't have done. So how is it any different? I mean, I'm sure Trump has a past that he's afraid of, that he's ashamed of. So we need to start looking at what he's doing now. And if you still hate him, that's fine. It doesn't really matter to him. It doesn't really matter to me. But the fact that he's actually appealing to women now is telling me that he's making up for his mistakes. He's doing his best to make up for his mistakes. And there are going to be people, of course, that are still going to be angry at him because he's a rich man, right? He's the rich man. He's the apprentice host. He's a guy that does not care about people, right? You're so wrong.
The entire election process, we have seen significant gains. 2020 has been a record year for Republican women. More women than ever are running for office. More Republican women than ever before have won their primaries and have their names on the ballots come November. And we're really excited about that and just kind of hope to keep building off those gains for future cycles.
Let me ask you, you have a unique perspective in that you worked as a media director for Senator Marco Rubio's presidential campaign back in 2016. Polls, such as the Morning Consult poll from earlier this month, show suburban women favor Democrat nominee Joe Biden over President Trump. What does the president need to do in order to appeal to that demographic?
Yeah, well, I think really not much has changed since 2016 in terms of people like what the president says. They just don't like how he says it. I think that's particularly true among suburban women who more often than not take offense and are turned off by his tweets and the rhetoric. But when the president sticks to policy, when he talks about things like the economy, when he talks about tax reform, a historic package passed under his administration, when he talks about the number of conservative federal judges that he's appointed, 2 of whom are now Supreme Court justices, a third well on the way with Judge Amy Coney Barrett, when he sticks to the policies, suburban women in particular, by and large, approve and agree with him. You know, the president is the president. I don't really see his communication style changing anytime soon, but really what it'll come down to is whether or not the policy is enough to offset the rhetoric.
I think you make a great point there regarding the rhetoric. And of course, we know that his daughter, senior advisor Ivanka Trump, she's also played a heavy role in his campaign in enacting policies that would directly affect suburban women and family women and working women. Now, let me ask you, many applaud the way Judge Amy Coney Barrett handled the confirmation hearings last week, but there is a notion among some women that she would essentially be not good for women's rights. How much of a factor does this play leading up to the election regarding her nomination to the High Court?
Yeah, I actually think, well, first, she's been incredibly impressive, composed and poised, which is great to see. I don't think many people can disagree with that, which is not an easy feat these days. But I actually think she has really broad appeal. You know, she's a working mom. She clearly has an incredibly successful legal career. She's about to be appointed to the Supreme Court. She has 7 kids.
Hell yeah,
all
girl.
who are school-aged. You know, these experiences really resonate, particularly with those suburban women voters that we were just talking about. But also, on the other hand, she is a woman of deep Catholic faith, proudly pro-life, and that resonates with other like-minded conservatives. And what's interesting to see is you're also seeing some Democrats warm to her. Last week, you had Senator Durbin, a Democrat, apologized to her for the way that the left had mistreated her and the toll that that had likely taken with her family. You saw Senator Dianne Feinstein, who called one of her legal explanations, quote, impressive. And I really think, to sum it up, that's the word for her. She is impressive, and women and men across the board agree with that.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe.
I agree a lot with what Cupis has been saying about Trump saying certain things that may offend women of the household, like housewives and stuff like that, and working women. But I also love the fact that he's actually appealing to the women and the demographic of conservative and Republican women now. Like she said, there is a rise in conservative women and Republican women. There's more Republican women that are being sworn in and being starting to work in the White House, and that's great because I feel like, personally, we didn't really have a lot of conservative women that spoke on certain things. We have Nancy Pelosi, we have Maxine Waters, we have Cortez and Hillary Clinton, okay, that are in the White House, that will evilly talk about Trump, that will talk about how abortion should be a human right and should be, should never be outlawed. But what about the conservative housewife? What about the conservative single mother? What about the conservative woman that makes her own business, who is able to work for herself and support her own self without a man, without a husband, without even a boyfriend? Those types of people, those types of women come from many different walks of life, and yes, they are conservative as well. And where are their voice? Where is the person that has the voice for them? And I'm really happy that equally both sides of the coin will have enough people to support both parties and both Democratic views and Republican views, most importantly. Because to be honest, if you really want to boil it down, it all comes to fairness, and it all comes to equality. When it comes to people speaking in the House of Representatives, there has to be, I feel, an equal number of people who had different opinions and different views and different things that they want to take up and talk about, as far as issues and as far as things like that. So I'm really happy about the new Speaker of the House. Girl, I know you're not sworn in yet, but I really, really support you. You're Catholic. You're adamantly pro-life. You have a good religious standing. I'm really happy that she is going to be the voice of conservative women, and that's great. Because conservative and Republican women are not going away. And I love the fact that Trump has found somebody for that demographic and that side of being a Republican. I'm glad that he's found somebody that can speak up for women and everything. Next is doctors speak out on coronavirus misinformation. Now, this comes from the OAN website. If you want to read it for yourself and you want to watch the video for yourself, you can go to oann.com to do that. But this is an article about some of the doctors, some of the main doctors in America that have kind of made some realizations about the regulations, about the masks and stuff, and how it kind of impacts your health and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that. A group of medical experts from around the country, known as America's Frontline Doctors, are speaking out against misinformation on the coronavirus. The doctors gathered on the steps of the Supreme Court Saturday morning to inform Americans not to be afraid of the virus. These doctors argued masks do not help curb the spread of the virus. In fact, they said the masks are socially divisive and pose a threat to civil liberties as well as national security. Jesus. However, they assert doctors in America are capable of treating COVID-19 and early treatment is key. So I'm going to start watching the video and I will be taking parts of it and talking about it to you. So yeah, let's do that.
And it is to some extent personified by the forced mandated wearing of masks. Let's not tiptoe around the great big elephant in the room. The facts are actually not in dispute. Masks are completely irrelevant in blocking the SARS-CoV-2 virus.
Girl, yes.
If you doubt that, you must watch the educational session that we've done about the myth of masks. I encourage everyone to do their own internet search and discover that prior to March 2020, there were no scientific journals that asserted that masks could keep out a virus. That's simply not how that works. A virus is 1/1000th the size of a hair. Consider what our Emperor Fauci said when asked if he's sure that masks work. Now remember, he is not new to the game. This has been his life's work for decades. There was no chance that what he said was a mistake, and there was no chance that SARS-CoV-2 is different than any other RNA virus, that he has made his life's work. Dr. Fauci said, when you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it is not providing the perfect protection that people think it is. And often there are unintended consequences. What the New England Journal of Medicine, a premier medical journal, had to say about masks, the following. It is clear that masks served symbolic roles. Masks are lucky charms that may help increase healthcare workers' perceived sense of safety and well-being. Thus, although such reactions may not be strictly logical, we're all subject to fear and anxiety, especially during times of crisis. Expanded masking protocols' greatest contribution may be to reduce the transmission of anxiety. That is per the New England Journal of Medicine. I will put it plainly to you, my fellow Americans. You have been lied to by the media. Propaganda is not a new phenomenon. Thomas Jefferson said, the man who reads nothing at all is better educated than the man who reads nothing but newspapers.
So basically what they're saying is that the mask is basically, like she said, a lucky charm, like something like a touchstone. Like I used to have a therapist and she said that certain things that you're attached to that make you feel better are called touchstones, which means it's basically there to ease your anxiety. So this here is an actual political tactic from whatever side. It doesn't really matter right now. But basically they are saying that of course it may like block a droplet, but it's not going to block out the whole virus. It is just basically for you to stay in fear just enough. Okay, like I said, there has been a few podcasts ago of I forget his name. His name is Kennedy. He's a Kennedy. So he was talking about how the government thrives on fear. So how is this any different? How is this any different when we're afraid of getting the coronavirus, but they're also giving us a tactic as, oh, well, make sure that you do this, this, and this, and cover your mouth. You'll feel better, but you're still living in fear. That mask is basically an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety sort of medicine symbolically for the American people so that they feel better enough, but still yet in fear enough to be controlled. That's my take on it.
Persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic. These days, Americans fall into three groups: those who recognize the propaganda, those who have been successfully propagandized, and those who don't care. We'll just leave them out of it for now. My message is for mask believers who have not yet realized that they are victims of propaganda and who also think it is no big deal to force other people to wear a mask. In fact, there are three enormous problems with masks. First, mask mandates are spreading fear and hostility that is changing American culture.
Yep.
We are less friendly, less interactive, more hostile, quicker to be angry with our fellow citizen. Masks are very socially divisive. There is mask shaming and mask virtue signaling. There's hashtag social compliance, and there's citizen policing of sidewalks and airplanes and restaurants. And in addition to hostility, masks bring a palpable sense of fear that is totally unwarranted by the facts. There are actual human beings who believe that others will be harmed if they don't wear a mask, and this is tragic. Second, mask mandates cause an insurmountable civil libertarian issue. In the American legal system, the government cannot force a facial covering because all rights not expressly given to the government belong to the people.
Oh, girl, she just ripped it open. She is literally looking at a document saying that the America, like the government, cannot force a facial covering over your mouth. Government loves fear. Government and fear are married to each other. We have to understand this. We have to understand that in order to be controlled, we have to have fear. She's right. There are so many people that are so distant from each other They used to be friends. They don't want to be around people who may have been infected. They get really scared if someone does not have a mask, and if they sneeze, holy crap, someone's got COVID, and that's not true. We need to understand that there is press information, and the press information has been hyped up so much to pump fear into the American people. We're going to keep listening.
Neither common law nor statutory right to mandate clothing. Encroaching on a right that belongs to the people is extremely dangerous. One of our founding fathers, 4th President James Madison, said, "It is proper to take alarm at the first experiment on our liberties. We hold this to be the first duty of citizens and one of the noblest characteristics of the Revolution. The free man of America did not wait till usurped power had strengthened itself." Third, wearing masks is a national security issue. When most of the citizenry of our country can so easily be persuaded to do something that is so clearly against our own Constitution, our enemies certainly take notice. We are quite literally telegraphing our weakness and social divisiveness to our enemies. Now, to those Americans who are genuinely afraid, we are physicians. We are here to help you with these facts to reduce your fear. First, we'll do the facts, then the emotion, and then the call to action. The first is the facts. Notice that what the experts had said for months is wrong. There are not 2 million dead. Our healthcare system was not overwhelmed. There were 10 times the number of ventilators that we needed. Nearly everyone survives, and early treatment works. You must not ignore your own life experience. If all you had to do to stop a virus was hold a tissue paper to your face, your ancestors would have learned this centuries ago, and your grandmother would have taught you this. Second is the emotion. Consider that what President Jefferson said 200 years ago, that newspapers are propaganda, and also what President Kennedy later pointed out, which is that it does not matter if the propaganda is a myth or a lie. Kennedy said, the myth that is persistent and persuasive. Realize that just because you believe or feel something is true does not make it true. Yep. There has been a massive propaganda campaign to get you to believe something, but you have it within your power to dismiss the propaganda. A simple internet search reveals that no scientist ever believed a mask, let alone a bandana, was relevant against a virus right up until COVID-19.
Bro!
The myth of masks came from politicians, and when something happens in politics, you can be darn sure it's done for another purpose. Third, a call to action. To the mask believers who have been angry at people who won't wear a mask, I call on you now to double your anger, but direct your anger toward those people who have lied to you. It is the people who are angry who have the power to fix the social divisiveness. We need you to put your anger squarely where it belongs. Unleash all of your fury on the professional media complex that has lied and lied and lied to you. And the final call of action to all Americans. So-called experts keep telling you that a bandana can stop a virus that is 1,000 times smaller than a hair. How stupid do you think we are? To all Americans, we say, we will be fooled no longer. The tiny emperor has no clothes. Thank you.
I really admire her passion. I really love the fact that she just went in there and just said all of that. There's a lot of that to take in. There's a lot of things that she said that is completely true. Like I said, the masks are basically the antidepressant to the human emotion right now. This is something that does not work. This is something that does not have any effect on anybody. Okay? There's no way. She even said that there were doctors that said that masks aren't actually a good protectant against any type of illness, and then they turn around and they say, oh, it's good, wear a mask, it's, blah, blah, blah. It's something to think about. It's something to think about. And she actually said something from a document. I don't know whether it was from a government document or whatever, but she did say that the government cannot control American people into having a face covering. So what we are doing right now is we are succumbing to the press. We are obeying our fears, and we are showing the government right now how controllable we are. We are basically cattle. And those people, there's 3 types of people. Like she said, people who don't care, people who know that there's people that are being misinformed, and people who believe in the misinformation. Which one are you? Okay, I know I already did 3 segments of the national news, but I will be talking about one more because my husband just sent it to me, and I will be talking about it. Like I said, all of this stuff that I find is on the internet. I make my own opinion about it. I decide what is right for me. Do the same thing, okay? But I'm going to be pulling it up real quick. I'll be reading the article. It says, the most delicious vegetables are the ones you grow yourself. This is about, without a right to garden law, it may be illegal to grow your own food. So, Nicole and Dan Virgil, who live in a suburb of Chicago, are dedicated vegetable gardeners. By the summer of 2015, they had maxed out their 2,000 square foot backyard with raised beds and were relying on them for much of their family's produce. They had branched out from simply growing the typical salad ingredients to cultivating potatoes, fennel, leeks, and tomatillos. I don't even know what that is. In the late August, the plants were still going full bore, and the Virgils wondered how they could extend the Midwestern growing season. In this climate zone, seedings go into the ground on Mother's Day and peter out in October. Okay. It seemed like such a shame that everyone would come to a dead stop once the temperature dropped, says Nicole, who is among the estimated 1/3 of Americans who have grown food at home. We really wanted to make a dent in our grocery bill, in our carbon footprint. We didn't turn our whole backyard into a garden just to have a few token vegetables. After doing some online research, Dan built a high tunnel hoop house to protect the 2 of the larger garden beds. The temporary greenhouse, made of plastic sheeting over the frame of PVC pipe and plywood, was 9 feet tall and at its apex. It was big enough to produce sufficient heat and warm the soil and allow the Virgils to stand inside while gardening in the frigid conditions. In more temperature climates like California's, farmers whose hoop houses to protect delicate blackberries, raspberries from the dew and fog. A few weeks after their hoop house went up, Nicole found a violation notice from the city taped to it. I thought it had to be some kind of misunderstanding that it couldn't be possible or serious, recalls Nicole. She had assumed that the hoop house, a lightweight temporary structure akin to a tent, would be subject to city regulations. After several discussions with city officials, 16 public meetings were over 2 years, a lawsuit filed by the Virgils, and a subsequent appeal. The city remained unmoved, siding with the neighbor who had filed the original complaint. Okay, listen, I'm gonna interrupt this, okay? Listen. Neighbors, you gotta mind your own damn business. Listen, if they are making their own way, if they are making their own food, and they don't have... See, this is what I mean. Like, the government and people get really upset when you do things for yourself. It's one of the reasons why Trump is so unlikable, is because he did so much by himself. He gained momentum by himself. He didn't have hardly any backing during the presidential elections when he first ran. And they're getting so pissed now because people, whether or not, I don't know if they're Democrat, this family, they're Democrat, Republican, whatever, but listen, they are doing something for themselves, and that is so commendable. And even the, I don't know what you would call it, even the city, right? Even the city don't like when people do things for themselves. Because if you don't rely on the government or the city, guess what? The city and the government loses money. You are their cash cow. Okay? And neighbors, mind your business. Bro, listen. Okay? I would love to have a house. I would love to have a house, right? And actually have my own garden. And guess what? I would give it to my neighbors. I'd be like, hey, bro, you want a cucumber? Here you go. Put it in your water. It's good for your skin. Okay? Listen, I would love to be that type of person. I would love to be that person. I don't have a house right now. But listen, I love it when people do things for themselves without the help of the government. There was a thing that we learned in world studies a long time ago in 9th grade when I was in high school. It was a term called laissez-faire, which means the government has no right to have their hands on independent businesses. So what are you doing? They literally, as far as I know from reading this, it doesn't seem like they have their own business. But even if they did, the city would still find a way to put their hands on it and say that you shouldn't be doing it. And I find that very just dumb. Isn't America supposed to be an independent country? What's happening now? Literally. Okay, hang on. Let's see. Virgil's found themselves stuck in a catch-22 of having an unpermitted temporary structure living. Oh my god, I can't talk. Listen, give me a second. Like I said, my mind's on fire. My mouth cannot keep up. The Virgils found themselves stuck in a catch-22 of having an unpermitted temporary structure while having no way to get a permit for temporary structure. Facing a daily fine, they took down their hoop house. That's terrible. Why would a backyard hoop house be so contentious? Everything's dying on me. My iPad's dying on me. My phone's dying on me. That's great. The Virgils are among many home gardeners around the country who have triggered a city or county ordinance that restricts edible gardening. It's fairly common for local governments to have a broadly written landscape ordinance, which may not explicitly prohibit vegetable gardening, but requires grass or similar vegetation and calls for plants within the certain height. I can understand that there is a certain beautification within a certain city. There's beautification laws. If it's a nuisance, then you can't have it around. Even in my old apartment complex, you weren't allowed to leave your trash outside your door because it would attract mice, maggots, and all that stuff. That's just natural. You should just take out your trash. But I can understand why certain cities would want to have that certain law of having certain plants a certain height and all of that stuff. But taking down a hoop house, taking down a garden, like a greenhouse, you're taking away their way of making their own life, like making their own way in life. I mean, I feel like nowadays America, now the United States is now, it's like a land contradiction now. We're living on a land that contradicts itself. I don't know whether to find that hilarious or stupid. I think both. But anyway, the neatly manicured yard has long been a status symbol. Lawns first appeared in the 1700s in European states whose owners could afford to have high-maintenance living carpets. Okay. And the suburbs have historically differentiated themselves from AG land. I want to say agricultured land. I think that's what it means. A lot of rural land has developed into suburban municipalities, and the zoning code was changed to prohibit agricultural uses. People didn't want a pig farm to move in, says Laura Calvert, a former executive director of Chicago-based nonprofit Advocates for Urban Agriculture. Given the context, it is easily to see how the neighbors might look down on some gardening as some form of subsistence farming. People think that it's beneath them, says Nicole, who documented her struggle in a recent OPED for the Chicago Tribune. Okay. I feel like it's nobody's business, especially the neighbors, what's going on in the next house. I mean, mind your business. I mean, if they're actually making a way for themselves and providing for their own selves, they're actually doing something natural that a lot of people did way back in the day. Okay, let's go back to Little House on the Prairie times. They had gardens, they had crops, they had horses, they had pigs, cows, and all of that stuff. They paid for the seeds, they paid for the livestock, they did everything to support themselves. I don't understand how cities and governments hate the fact that American people find ways to support themselves and discredit the people who actually do it. Who actually make it hard for people to live without the government's help. Why is that such a big deal? The goal of these ordinances, whether they're about landscaping or temporary structures, is to maintain property values. The racist practice of rendling, which kept African Americans out of the suburbs, was rationalized in the same way. I see. Okay. However, the perception that growing vegetables will drive down home values is not rooted in any evidence, as Calvert points out. Now the pandemic shutdown is shifting these cultural attitudes for the first time in a long while. People have seen empty shelves in grocery stores and witnessed hoarding. The past months have been a visceral reminder of how important it is to have access to healthy food, which no doubt prompted many to start planting. And there's people who are ahead of the curve, which is fine. The Virgils are ahead of the curve. It embraced hoop houses and its 2011 ordinance promoting urban farming while still regulating them restrictions on the size and height. We have broad mayoral support for urban agriculture, says Calvert. It provides all these benefits, including food access, public health, and public education. Listen, you know me, I am a conspiracy theorist. I believe that if you can control the distribution of food, the growing of food, and the access to food at all times, you control the world. Because when people are hungry and when people are scared, you can control the crap out of them. I believe that the one world government is a thing. I believe that it's happening. I'm just saying, be ready. In addition to those imperatives, there are also philosophical and legal principles to defend. In a basic level, the right to garden year-round can be encapsulated as the right to do what you want in your own yard. The Virgils are advocating for a state right to garden bill, which would override local ordinances. Virgils, I really hope, I hope and pray that this bill gets passed. I really hope that you are able to get things going and you're able to get your hoop house back, because we should have a right to make our own food. They've joined forces with attorney Ari Bargil at the nonprofit Institute for Justice, which works on constitutional law cases and helped pass the first such gardening bill in Florida. Bargil sees restrictions on home gardening as a violation of a fundamental right. We have the right to use our own properties to grow our own food, as long as that use does not impinge on someone else's freedom to enjoy their property. And he feels that landscape ordinances smack off authoritarianism. If a vegetable garden is attracting pests, it has a bearing on the health and safety of a community, and that should be regulated, he says. But if the government is acting like a Disney World and is specifying that your front yard should look like, or what your front yard should look like, that's not a vision for a free society. The Right to Garden bill in Illinois has been through 3 rounds of revisions and should be going before the state legislature in the next session, which begins in early 2021. The Virgils are cautiously optimistic that their cause will prevail. I'm just trying to do something good, Nicole says. I want to help people live and help each other and have food in abundance. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with actually having a garden in your home to provide for yourself and your own family? Like I said, I'm glad that I don't have, assistance from the government anymore. I'm glad that I don't have that. You want to know why? Because I actually make my own money and I buy my own food. If I could, I would grow my own food. Okay? Doing something for yourself, like I said, is probably the most fulfilling thing that you can do for yourself. It's actually healthy for you to do that. It's mentally healthy for you to do something for yourself. And the government and the city legislatures and all of those codes are making it harder for American people to live freely. Aren't we an independent nation? When was the last time we were told that this is a free country? Okay, next is world news. I just want to stop and say thank you to Austria for listening in. Welcome to the Rogue Renegade family. I'm so happy and I'm so thankful that a little bit of Austria is listening. Whether you started listening to me, got angry, and turned it off, listen, I'm just glad that you listened. Or maybe you are interested and you really want to, listen to me. That's great. I'm so happy. I'm so thankful. I'm humbled. Thank you. I also want to thank you to Finland. I know I probably already talked about it, but we're going to talk about some Finland and Austrian news today. So stay tuned. Okay, we have an article about Austria. Give me a second here. Austria plans to ban corona shields. Now, the face shields, as far as we're concerned, are the shields that cover the whole face, like the plastic ones. They want to be able to ban that. I'm not sure about the face masks, but we're gonna Look at this. Austria wants to encourage people to wear close-fitting masks instead of plastic face shields because authorities believe that they do not offer enough protection. All right. The government wants to see the semi-open face, goodness gracious, visitors often use by staff, restaurants, and shops to disappear from use gradually. It has emerged. According to Courier newspaper, a draft of the new corona regulation says that in future visitors will no longer be recognized as protective devices in Austria. In principle, anti-corona masks must be covering and close-fitting wherever masks are compulsory. In the explanatory notes, it stated the background is consolidated evidence that face shields in particular do not have an aerosol inhibiting effect compared to classic masks. Mechanical protection devices such as face shields or mini face shields have thus proved unsuitable for preventing the spread of the COVID-19 and are therefore prohibited. Mind you, we already talked about the fact that the mask is basically a device to ease people's fears, but still are able to keep them in enough fear to control them. And many face shields refer to the chin shields, which are particularly popular with waiters and waitresses because they can be more comfortable and traditional masks. Although Austria's new coronavirus rules are coming into force from midnight Friday, October 23rd, there is to be a short transition period for face shields so that people can prepare for the ban, report says the Courier. There will be exceptions to the rule for people who can't wear close-fitting masks for health reasons. In September, a U.S. study found that face shields offer the least protection against infection. The simulation showed that while coughing and sneezing blocked the forward movement of droplets, the aerosols were still distributed around the visor in the room. Other measures due to come into force in Austria include minimum distance of 1 meter in public and making masks compulsory at all indoor and outdoor events. In Finnish news, apparently a cruise ship ran aground in the Baltic Sea, so we're gonna read that article right now. A Baltic Sea passenger ferry, it was a ferry, not a cruise ship, with nearly 300 people aboard, has run aground in the Åland Islands archipelago between Finland and Sweden on Sunday, Finnish authorities said. Rescue officials are preparing to evacuate the vessel of passengers and crew, none of whom suffered any injuries, according to reports. Finnish Coast Guard tweeted that the MS Amarella, reported by ferry company Viking Line between the Finnish and western port of the Turku and Swedish capital Stockholm, is currently stuck on the ground south of the port of Laganas in the islands. I'm so sorry if I mispronounce any of these words in your language. Just know that I tried. In a tweet, the local Coast Guard division posted, Amarilla made ground contact with south of Langnas. The ship pushed itself to the shore of the island to stabilize the situation. Several units were alerted and several ships were on site in preparation for the evacuation. At present, the situation is stable and humans' lives are not in immediate danger. Video footage has been taken on board of the ferry and posted on the Coast Guard's Twitter account. Showed small boats undertaking the evacuation of those on board. There are no reported human casualties, Viking Line said in a short statement, adding that the situation with the vessel was stable. It added that the vessel has around 200 passengers and crew of 80 on board. The Coast Guard was alerted and the incident just before 1 p.m. Finnish time. Authorities are now investigating why the ferry ran aground. The Åland Islands on an autonomous Finnish territory are midway between two port cities, and MS Amarilla was set to make a scheduled stop where they're en route into Stockholm. So I'm guessing because Finland and Sweden are very close together, including Norway. I'm guessing that they got a little too close between the lands that kind of almost contact. I'm guessing. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I really hope everybody's okay with who has been suffering from the incident. Like they said, there was no casualties, and I hope that everyone gets off the boat safely. So that's it for today. Thank you guys for listening. Like I said, Finland, thank you so much for listening. Austria, thank you so much for listening. I love everybody who listens. I pray for everybody who listens. God bless. Have a good day.